Hey, what is going on guys? My name is Nort, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, we are going to be taking a look into Michael DeSanta's secret family. And the reason why I wanted to make this video is because I see so much information these days about Amanda and Jimmy and anyone else inside Michael DeSanta's family. What we don't see, however, is all of the information regarding his other family, the family who Michael grew up with, the family which made Michael essentially, the family who he was born into this world with, and there's quite a bit of information regarding them, and I think you guys will find this very interesting. So if you guys do, please don't leave without smashing that like button. If we could get that goal of 5,000 likes, if we could smash that goal, that'd be crazy guys. So today's episode, let's try and shoot for 5,000 likes. Anyway, let's get straight into the information. If you guys would like to ask any questions regarding the information I have for you guys today, please don't hesitate to let me know in the comments section below. And all of the information which I have for you guys was taken directly from in-game quotes, in-game references, newspaper articles, anything inside the game which has given us some clues into Michael DeSanta's upbringing and his secret family as well. So starting things off in a time a long time ago, in the late 1960s, more specifically between 1965 and 1968, Michael DeSanta was born and raised into this world. But unfortunately for Michael, and something which I know a lot of you guys probably didn't realize, is that Michael DeSanta was born into a very disadvantaged world. His family were extremely poor. In fact, they were so poor he was living on a trailer park, and he faced so many problems and challenges as a kid. And Michael simply didn't have the same advantages any other child had of his age, which made Michael incredibly disadvantaged already, and he had only just been born into this world. And very similarly to Franklin and Trevor, Michael DeSanta was also abused when he was brought up. In fact, his father was an alcoholic, and his father used to physically abuse Michael DeSanta during his upbringing. And I'm not too sure which case or scenario was worse in terms of which character was abused the most when they were brought up. I believe Michael DeSanta was the most abused, but it would be pretty even with Michael DeSanta and Trevor as well. Anyway, both of these abuse stories pretty much help shape the characters into who they are now in Los Santos, their perceptions, their personality, and everything else like that. So moving back onto this, Michael DeSanta's father, who was an alcoholic and physically abused him, later left the family. In fact, he left his mother and him a few years later on. But when he left his family, he didn't tell Michael or anyone else why he was leaving, he just took up and left. And as a result of this, Michael's mother actually fed Michael a series of just random stories about where his father is. These stories actually include skipping town, being hit by an oncoming train, and joining the Navy. It's not just those stories, but they're the ones we hear from the game. We also hear that there's a few other stories which he was told as well, but it could be these stories and these small glimpses of hope and just being lied to all the time about something so close to him that could have shaped his personality, or even worse, made him the delusional man he is today. Because if you guys didn't know already, Michael DeSanta has the American dream. He has a family, he has a beautiful wife, he has a mansion in the Vinewood Hills, and Michael DeSanta is miserable. You can see that at the start of campaign. This of course leads him back into violence, back into criminal behavior, back into his old self, because it's where he feels more comfortable, and also because no matter what Michael thinks, no matter what he thinks is perfect or the end game, it's never the end game with him. He can't help himself, and no matter what he thinks, he's very delusional in the fact that he thinks this is the end, he thinks he's achieved everything, when really it's just making things worse, and he is going against exactly what he likes the most. So that is something really interesting regarding Michael DeSanta, and I am not the only person who believes this as well. There's also tons and tons of you guys who also think the very same thing, or something at least very similar to this story, and it does make a lot of sense as well. So this is just a great insight into how Michael DeSanta transformed into the guy he is today, and what was the main influence or shape into the character he is today. So it's really interesting to take a look into that aspect. Okay, so just check marking this video at the point where Michael's father has left his family for whatever reason. We don't know, unfortunately. Michael is now stuck in the trailer park with his mother in an incredibly disadvantaged situation. So at this point, we start hearing a few stories regarding Michael at high school, and some of these stories are actually pretty interesting, and it's where we start to see the first personality backstory or the first character builds of Michael DeSanta, all of this starts at high school. So already Michael DeSanta has got a high temperament, and he's already quite aggressive because of the abuse he was given as a child and also his disadvantaged upbringing. He doesn't have the normal characteristics any other child around him would have because he has just been mentally scarred in so many ways. But there is an advantage out of this. Michael's aggressive behavior and temperamental state actually makes him one of the greatest quarterbacks for his entire state. This exceptional performance Michael DeSanta gave to his state football team led Michael DeSanta to be photographed in his local newspaper numerous of times. However, unfortunately for Michael, a few years on, he had to quit American football because his temper was too much than he could handle, and he was getting into too many fights, he was getting too aggressive, and this led to multiple injuries. This forced Michael DeSanta to quit the only thing he was good at the time, American football. And as a result of this, Michael plunged into a huge whirl of depression, and because his family wasn't as advantaged as any other family, he couldn't get much help to support him. He didn't get too much support around him. This inevitably leads Michael into criminal behavior, in which he does 2 petty crimes before he reaches the age of 20. In fact, when I say petty, I'm not too sure if I can use that word, because when he was about 19 years old, when he was in his late teens, he actually robbed a bank for $10,000. He was caught for this because a clerk did manage to recognize his face, and he was caught, put in prison, and this of course was the second time Michael DeSanta was put in prison. This time it was in for quite a longer time than the first time. As his time in prison grew, Michael DeSanta realized that he was extremely good at rounding up people, leading people on, and just essentially manipulating people in prison. And of course, this is the first character build to the Michael DeSanta we see today in campaign. If you guys have played throughout story, you must know already that Michael DeSanta is great at manipulating people, and he's just a great team leader. He knows what he's doing, but he is so good for that matter that in prison, he actually tattooed his name onto his cellmate's buttocks. Like, he is that threatening towards other people, and he manages to do these crazy things. Anyway, whilst he was doing all of this crazy stuff in prison, he came across a man named Lester Crest, and you guys probably already know who this guy is. Lester Crest is the man we know in GTA 5, the creepy Uncle Lester who lives inside his house and watches every single CCTV camera. He is the brains behind the operations, and this is where they first met, and they made sort of an affiliation or a bond inside prison, so when they got out, they began to work together. And it was from this point onwards when Michael DeSanta completely discards his family. We hear no information regarding them. We don't even know if they're alive today. And judging from his funeral he had in North Yankton, I don't even remember seeing them at the funeral. So in my opinion, I think they are either dead or they don't even know their son is alive because he's been locked up in prison for such a long time and they've just completely lost connection. And because they weren't really the most functional family, I can totally imagine them just completely disconnecting from each other and never seeing each other again, which of course is what appears to be the actual case in GTA 5. The moment they leave prison, they don't speak to each other ever again. So this is of course the dawn of Michael DeSanta's new life, affiliated with Lester Crest, a character who we see prominently throughout GTA 5 and GTA Online. And if you guys are wondering, wait, where does Trevor come into this? Trevor comes in 1993, in which Michael DeSanta hires just an unknown person to help him ship some illegal cargo from point A to point B. That unknown person was Trevor Phillips. Trevor Phillips does not know who his employer is at the time, so these guys don't even know who each other are. They're just random people assigned to do an illegal task. That is it. No names given. Anyway, Trevor Phillips expects to have one person rolling up and meeting him, but at this point when Trevor looks down the dusty road, he actually sees 2 cars rolling up. This of course causes a tiny bit of confusion, but at this time when Trevor Phillips realizes exactly what has gone on, this is because Michael DeSanta carjacked a vehicle and he is keeping someone hostage. And when the hostage comes out of the vehicle to start shouting at Trevor, telling him he's got to do something, he has to stop Michael, Trevor Phillips actually shoots the guy in the face, and Michael sees that behavior and of course recruits him into Michael and Lester Crest's gang. This is where Trevor and Michael meet, and for the next few years they do many heists, many missions together, but it was only until a few years on when Michael met Amanda, and at this point they both want to move into Los Santos, they want to settle down their lives, they want to drop any criminal behavior, but because Trevor Phillips is so reckless and he's so tied to Michael, that Michael sets up a deal with the authorities, and the authority he set up a deal with was Dave Norton, who was looking for a bonus at the time and was promised a lot of money, and of course would be given an inevitable promotion by the people he was working with, and this would be done if he managed to stop the most infamous and wanted gang, which was the one Michael and Trevor and Lester Crest had formed. So at this time, during one heist, Michael set up a deal with Dave Norton, in which at the end of the heist, which you can see in North Yankton, Dave Norton is assigned to kill Brad, Trevor, and fire a blank at Michael. This would of course lead to Michael's fake death, and this would make Michael dead on the radar so he could get a brand new identity, but Dave Norton would be claimed as the man for killing everyone in this gang and stopping the most wanted gang in North Yankton at the time. So this was pretty big stuff for him, and this completely failed. Only Brad was killed, Trevor got away, and Michael was given the blank bullet. So this is how things kind of escalated to they are today, but I hope you guys did enjoy this video about Michael DeSanto's secret family, and of course some other secrets regarding Michael DeSanto as well during his upbringing, and how he managed to get into the place he is today. If you guys did enjoy this video, however, please don't leave without smashing that like button, subscribe to my channel if you guys are new here so you won't miss out on any more Grand Theft Auto 5 content every single day. Anyway guys, my name is Nort. Unfortunately that's all I've got time for today. I hope you did enjoy, and I will see you guys next time.